Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. Hope you're really excited. We've got some really cool, interesting things coming up for Sitefinity 15.2, the next chapter in delivering modern digital experiences. We're having our lovely presenters today. We have Asya, Sergey, and Jonathan.
So a very quick recap. This is not a strict agenda of what we will cover today. Just wanted to give you a heads up of what to expect for the next hour. So today's agenda covers everything from our 15.2 highlights and updates, as well as steps to create a roadmap for modernization, some of the benefits of modern front-end technologies, as well as guidelines that we've prepared to support your journey. Before we delve into the 15.2 updates and highlights, we just wanted to give you a quick recap of what happened since version 15 was introduced, other than that the digital landscape has evolved tremendously. But what we did throughout this time is that we've listened to your feedback, addressed some of the emerging needs that we heard of, and then also made significant advancements that will empower your workflows even further. What else happened out there? So in 2023, Apple sold over 300 million units. And if you wonder what this has to do with Sitefinity and today's webinar's theme, think about the impact this trend, this development has on our user preferences as well as on content consumption. With trends like mobile first, multi-channel, headless, API first, and the rise of AI and large language models, every organization is trying to adapt in order to meet their users where they are. And this does not mean that you need to start building a mobile app right away, but we want to help you to understand that this shift in the environment requires you to reevaluate how your company reaches your audience and how you need to tailor the experience to their needs. And today's users expect to consume content at lightning speed across devices with a seamless and dynamic Netflix or Amazon-like experience. Speed is a central theme in our discussion today. From faster content delivery to seamless cross-device experiences, we'll be diving into how our latest advancements in Sitefinity meet the demand for speed at every level. Let's now do a quick recap of what Sitefinity 15 line is about. Since the release of version 15 last November, we focused on enhancing content creation and classification with AI, improving connectivity and automation through the integration hub, updating some of the key widgets, launching new widgets, streamlining site sync, supporting .NET 8 with the commitment to always be on the latest .NET version, and also advancing Sitefinity Insight with a CDP certification by the CDPI Institute, data exports, advanced segmentation for more targeted insights, and more. And there is a lot more to expect out of this release. But before we continue, I just have one piece of breaking news for you. 1 in 3 chief marketing officers out there surveyed by the CMO Council in partnership with research firm Zeta Global says that campaign performance needs to improve or has underperformed. Chief marketing officers today are under immense pressure to modernize digital experience, and according to Deloitte, having a robust marketing strategy isn't enough anymore. As consumer expectations change and competition becomes more advanced, customer acquisition costs are rising. Historically, customer data was collected across outdated or poorly connected systems, which made it inaccessible for marketers. But ever since, many organizations have been focusing to connect key data sources to their content management ecosystem, allowing them to take advantage of both their proprietary as well as third-party data. So the challenge now is more evident than ever, as with all that data available out there, it's hard to figure out what is relevant, what's usable, or what's actionable. And I'm saying that because we as marketers at Progress are having that same challenge as we speak. As someone who is constantly thinking about how to make experiences better, I get it. Users today want experiences that are as fast as their imagination, and that's the standard we all expect. Speed, fluidity, and relevance aren't just goals, These are the things that drives every improvement we make in Sitefinity, and I hope we'll be able to convince you of that. So before we jump into the updates we've prepared for you, I just wanted to provoke you with a thought. Imagine for a moment a content management system that goes beyond simply managing content. This would be a next generation CMS that isn't just your content manager, but the growth engine that transforms every customer interaction into actionable insights, helping you unlock new ways to understand and serve your users. And in a world where speed is everything, a CMS that empowers your team to build faster, personalize deeper, and adapt instantly. And as we look toward the future, think about how these capabilities could transform your digital strategy and enhance the way you connect with your audience.
Sitefinity 15.2 by now is out. All the customers should have access to it. All the cloud customers should have the ability to upgrade to it. And we'll try to give you the best sense of what's in it, what impact you may expect, and why you will want to do this upgrade to the latest version. So first and foremost, the major step forward for us with this version was introduction of support for the new front-end technology, React and Next.js. We've always been on the .NET stack, and with Sitefinity 15.2, in all the packages we support, on-prem, PaaS, and SaaS, we're adding support for this very fast-moving technology for speedy and performant front ends. On top of that, we of course make many improvements across the board that enhance flexibility, usability, and security of the platform. And there were many improvements in content management. We continue to invest in that area. And one area in user engagement, specifically user registration, got updates with respect to the process and the security of the form itself. Speaking about SaaS, we added one very important enhancement to be able to customize the backend UI via micro apps that are hosted in SaaS without creating any upgrade dependencies, which will of course support the basic tenet of software as a service, that it's continuously upgradable. And last but not least, we added several options to Sitefinity Insight to better profile, analyze, and manage audiences. Content management, of course, is a pretty well-established area in Sitefinity as well. We've made many investments in that area over the years, but there are always little things that make a big difference, and sometimes they're not so little. But compared to introducing a new technology for the front end, they may seem little. One of the strengths as we see it, and we have confirmation from a lot of customers for pretty extensive use, is managing complex content. Modeling various business objects with content, creating complex types, outfits Sitefinity with unparalleled flexibility in delivering that content to various audiences. And specifically in this release, we made enhancements in navigation for hierarchical types, as well as visual presentation of complex content in widget designers for one-off definition of such content. When you're, of course, done with your content drafting and so forth, working within the Sitefinity promotion process, you deal with SiteSync. And some of the enhancements in that area, particularly for the content editors when they publish and sync, is faster calculation of sync dependencies and the ability to explicitly review these dependencies before syncing to make sure that the right dependent pieces are synced, that no drafts make it to the production and so forth. And to make sort of the slate clean and not to create a whole bunch of old logs, now there is a configurable cleanup schedule for the old logs in SiteSync. Now, specifically about end user registration, we've significantly improved the security of that step so that you worry less about unauthorized access to the system, being victim to spam, and so forth. There are a lot of changes, both in the registration widget and the user registration process. One in particular is that now end user activation by email is required by default. It used to be configurable. There are explicit warnings to the admins via the system status dashboard when password requirements are not configured. There's an option to add CAPTCHA. And the way the registration process works in the new version is quite a bit more elaborate and robust compared to the previous. There are several other changes that may cause breaking changes, particularly for MVC. So when you upgrade to version 15.2, if you use MVC for the front end, you may want to watch for some of the build errors. That's only if you modified the views for your registration widgets. So with that summary, let me hand it over to John. And of course, it's always good to see these things in action as opposed to being on the slide. But with that preamble, John, take it away.
Absolutely.
Give us a little bit of a flavor of what it looks like in practice.
Oh, did you just make a food pun for me? So many of you
Waiting for you.
who've seen a Sitefinity demonstration in the past, we often use a food-based restaurant site. In this particular case, when we talk about complex content, it's not just limited to content types. It could be also in a custom widget. So I want to show off a couple features here. We've generated a custom widget called Recipe. This has a complex layout and design where we kind of can have an infinite number of steps and ingredients and other capabilities within the system. A couple things to note here. Look on my page structure here. We've introduced custom icons here. I'm going to show it to you a little bit bigger here in a second. We have the ability for custom icons or to use one of our pre-built set of icons. You can find that in the Sitefinity Design Center. But before I show you that icon there, let's look at how we can view custom complex objects within a widget designer. Again, to reiterate, this is a custom widget that we've designed out to build complex objects, right? And this complex object needed steps. Okay, so these are the steps in a recipe process. Within that, I guess to go back here, I have steps, but steps are complicated, right? They have multiple parts to them. And it's really just too much to display on one screen here. With a small amount of configuration, I restricted this to one column and the rest I have to edit. So I have a step name, a description, any sub objects of ingredients, and potentially even sub steps of this particular step. Let's go to one that has a little bit more capabilities here, and that's mix wet ingredients. So I gave it a name, I gave it a description. I can add ingredients as we see fit here. I don't know that let's see, 1 teaspoon. What don't we have in here? Cinnamon. Let's say we want to add some cinnamon, right? And whoop, if I put these in the right place here, read the directions, John. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. So we'll go ahead and hit done there and a save. And we'll now see on our ingredients list, we'll have an additional cinnamon within that particular set of process. So it ended up showing up right here. So some great options there for displaying and managing custom complex objects within a widget. And then lastly, to close out this portion of it, as noted, we do have custom icons here. So as a recipe should, has a little salt shaker there. Again, to help authors and editors more quickly find the features that they need within the content management system. So some great ways to visualize and interact with custom content. Let me go ahead and save this change here. In order to go along with this particular piece of content, I wanted to also write a blog post because everybody needs to know about Sergey's spectacular banana bread. So we're going to go head over to our blogs area. And we, of course, are going to create a blog. Now, just for the sake of time here today, I've already started one, but we're going to finish it here. Another note, as Sergey pointed out, we've changed how this particular screen works. For those of you who have been around for a while, when you clicked on this before, it navigated you into the children items. We've changed that. We now will obviously edit the item that you're clicking on. So if you have your own content types or you're using a blog in this particular case, clicking on it opens the properties of that particular item. I'm going to navigate into my post by clicking on the 6 posts there. As I mentioned before, I've already started a draft here of what I wanted to work on. So I've written some content, talking about the legend of, Sergey's banana bread, a quick summary. We did add a tag here, but as I was going through, I noticed and realized I didn't have my open graph meta field filled out. I want to go ahead and use an image that I uploaded before, but it has not been synced to my production environment, okay? So what I want to also show off here, aside from creating the content here, I've added a new tag and I've added a new image into the system. I'm in my authoring environment, so I'm going to utilize SiteSync to move this to production. I've published it. I've alerted Sergey that his new article is ready for review. He goes and looks at it. He's happy. He says, John, let's go ahead and sync that content. I'm going to come back into here. I'm going to sync the content. During that process, we have dependencies, right? Sitefinity will now visually show you the dependencies. You do need to sync them before they go live. You can review the dependencies. You can sync them, and you are off and running. And the content has been sent for syncing. Once it is synced, you will be notified. So we're good to go. The content is being synced. Our dependencies been synced, and now we're good to go. So no more dependencies. We can now sync the rest of the article. So again, maintaining content and complex objects and the relationships that they hold together is now easily and more manageable for you and your authoring teams.
The next section will be about Next.js, so Sergey already mentioned that. So we have a brief update for you in terms of what Next.js is, how you can use it, what does it mean for in a Sitefinity world. But first and foremost, what we wanted to start with is that we are now friends with JavaScript too. So first of all, React and Next.js are rapidly gaining popularity in the market due to the high demand in the job market and their modern appeal. So these technologies, these frameworks are especially attractive to present-day developers, which is also showed by the Stack Overflow development survey from 2024. We introduced Next.js support because we wanted to give you the flexibility to choose the most appropriate tech stack for your goals. And by expanding our ecosystem, we're not only catering to the growing community of React developers, but also want to empower organizations to leverage their in-house React talent and thus reduce costs and increase flexibility. So Sitefinity now with Next.js and with ASP.NET Core offers the truly decoupled tool set with the goal to give you the freedom to choose while enabling you to deliver high quality experiences. React and Next.js have become essential tools for modern web development, driven by their component-based architecture and modular approach, which streamline code reuse and make complex interfaces more manageable. And research also shows that these tools significantly reduce development time and improve productivity. So for example, companies like Airbnb and Uber report improved scalability and easier maintenance. In a CMS world, however, a major advantage of Next.js in particular is its built-in support for server-side rendering and static site generation, which enhance both performance and search engine optimization. By pre-rendering pages on the server, content loads faster and is more accessible to search engines, leading to better rankings and a smoother user experience. And according to industry surveys, teams using these frameworks experience faster onboarding, increased collaboration, and boosting development speed. And also one important aspect in the content and experience development world is the platform flexibility. So with Next.js, we basically make Sitefinity more platform and operating system independent. So developers can be on a Mac or on a Mac OS or on a Linux, and they don't need to worry. They don't need to worry about that because Sitefinity can now work with those technologies as well. And what is it in there with Next.js? So because of the decoupled architecture of Sitefinity, content can be developed and reused regardless of the front-end technology, if it is Next.js, if it is Core, or if it is MVC. And this is in particular useful in multi-site environments where, for example, you could have different teams develop different websites, for example, corporate site or a landing page versus a portal in different technologies. And your editors will be able to enjoy the same experience. So content can be created once and reused across all of these different websites. And we think that is pretty cool. So at this point, we also offer matching set of widgets and forms for ASP.NET Core and Next.js. And MVC still offers somewhat more in terms of features, but as we continue to onboard customers, feature parity between MVC and the other two is a goal for us for 2025. And now to quickly answer the question, because I think and I hope I've got all of you excited about Next.js, how can you get your hands on Next.js? Our hosted trials, which are hosted in SaaS, are readily available for you. It's a free 14-day hosted trial that you can get access to via the Getting Started session on the website. And you can start exploring the technology. You can start exploring the renderer and how you can build experiences with it. It is available. Next.js will be and the render will be available in Sitefinity SaaS out of the box. So the hosting of your front end is included in the package. And if you're on Sitefinity Cloud Pass or plan to migrate to Sitefinity Cloud Pass, you can still take advantage of Next.js. The only thing here is that you have to host this with some of the providers out there in the market. So remember, within SaaS, we offer the integrated hosting, and with Pass, basically you're on your own. Package and distribution happens via NPM widgets and GitHub as well. So reach out to our team if you need help. As well as we are working on a Sitefinity development course, Sitefinity Foundations of Sitefinity Development with Next.js, which is coming soon with a certification. So keep an eye in terms of when that will be announced. And if you wonder, is this technology mature so that I can start building websites and experiences with it? We have the answer right there for you. And it is one of our customers that already have their website live with Next.js. Racing and Wagering Western Australia is the principal racing authority and state-appointed racing regulator in Western Australia, serving as the premier source of racing information for the entire state. And what they did is that they consolidated 12 websites into a single Sitefinity Cloud instance using Next.js and also by integrating their data applications. And what they like to say, together with the partner, with the brand agency who built the experience for them, is that this is the world's first website built with Progress Sitefinity and Next.js technology. You can, of course, go ahead and explore the website. It's pretty awesome. The partner did a great job. And you can also, via the QR code that you see on the screen, you can access the success story that's on our website and then read the full story, what they have done, what challenges they have faced, and how they have made such a great experience. And with Racing WA's permission, what we also did is that we did a Core Web Vitals assessment just to see if we can prove that this technology can be pretty fast. And of course, it's thanks to a great platform and thanks to great implementation and an awesome technology that the customer was able to achieve those results that you see on the screen and pass all of the core Web Vitals criteria. And now we have come to the second demo bit as part of today's webinar. So John, I don't know if I was able to convince you and if I advertised Next.js enough, but let me know and show us how this looks.
So I think that the point we want to show here in value is for authors and editors, it doesn't particularly matter which renderer you choose. The experience is going to be the same. So this particular site that I'm working on here, just happens to be Coriander Lane as well, but it's built with Next.js. And the value for the authors and editors as you go around in the back end, or as you create a new page here, the experience doesn't change. Behind the scenes, of course, we are using another technology, which is great. Faster time to market, allow your teams to use what they're already used to and they're great at. And just to prove a point here, I'm using a blank template. This is what Sitefinity ships with out of the box. So, the Coriander Lane you saw before had taken a level of effort to, design and style. We did use Bootstrap 5, which Next.js does also ship with. But my point in doing this is to prove out the fact that it is the same, right? Same experience, same new icons. I can still add sections. I can add columns. And again, same columning system. So maybe we go with 3 columns there. And I add a content block. No changes there. As I go into a content block, maybe I go ahead and take advantage of the Gen AI capabilities. And Sergey still got me wanting his banana bread there. So I got some key points. The audience is maybe everyone. The tone, you got to be happy about this. And the text length maybe is 300 words. Let's go ahead and let Gen AI compose this content for us, and let's see what we get. I think that's, again, we got to have some human interaction here. Typically, I would take some more time to review it and, ensure that it's what I wanted to do. We're going to give it a title here. And because it is the same platform behind the scenes, it doesn't matter for me as an author, right? Now, of course, behind the scenes, again, technology is being presented. We're able to present Next.js developers with the same principles and practice as we do for .NET developers. That means templating, right? Not only we have page templates, but widget templating as well. The Sitefinity developers were able to find a very creative way for us to introduce the same processes and principles for widget templates, right? So as I add a content listing widget here, and I pick a particular type of content, we have our own templates in here. This is huge, right? We can now, again, still allow authors and editors to pick and configure the components that they want within the application with a limited reliance on IT, or no reliance if they've created what they're supposed to, right? So you can hear, we have some custom implementations of templates for our particular site as well. So we have a specific news listing, do a small amount of mapping here for our content, etc. And then we can double check what it looks like. Now, again, disclaimer, we had already taken the effort to style this particular template to meet our particular business needs, right? You may apply your own styles. As a reminder, we do ship with Bootstrap 5 out of the box. As Asya mentioned, you can try this today. Go ahead and get a free hosted trial of Sitefinity. It's a 14-day trial. This is what the page looks like. Now, when you're launching the trial, you have 2 choices, Next.js, so you can choose your option here as far as technology. When you select Next.js, you're going to get Coriander Lane in Next.js. It is based on our SaaS environment. That means you get to try the entire SaaS process. That includes continuous integration and continuous deployment, zero downtime deployments, the Git repository, and then you can invite authors and editors using the cloud portal screen as well. So work with your business team as well, offer them to go try the new features and concepts as well. So again, I hope, for the technologists on the phone that you understand that, look, for the authors and editors, you get to use what you want. They still get the great experience, no change, no matter what technology you choose for a renderer.
So let's talk about Sitefinity Insight. And of course, it's a part of our platform that allows customers to leverage data to model, understand, and target their audiences. When I talked about challenges for the modern day marketers, of course, well, the availability of data is a great boon because now you can utilize them to better target your audiences. The issue, though, is that there's lots of data. And this wonderful picture was contributed by one of our customers, in fact, an Insight customer, and we call that the data peacock. Because there is so much data that frequently marketers don't know where to start. It's hard to get the data in one place. There are different interfaces and so forth. And so the practitioners sort of get stuck trying to figure out where to even start. Our message about it is that you don't need to try to get all the data in one place. You need to figure out what data is of priority. And those can be quite easily mapped to the audience's profiles in Sitefinity Insight. And this is exactly what one of our customers, Teachers Building Society, did with the help of their partner Appius in UK. Their approach to targeting their audiences was relatively simple but tremendously effective. They constructed their sites to offer both implicit and explicit personalization. So sometimes there are dialogues that qualify to you to a certain segment. Sometimes Insight is used to infer your interest and put you in a certain segment by your browsing history, the type of content that you interact with, and so forth. And what's most important is based on that segmentation. This lending cooperative, in UK they're called building societies, offered specific products to specific segments of their base, and relative to generic offers, they saw a measured increase in conversions, dramatic increase in new leads, which led to a whopping of 46% increase in lending, which of course means that they get more business and they serve the audience better. Sitefinity Insight was a core element of that approach, and some of you know, some of you that may be news, that we've evolved Sitefinity Insight to be certified as a real CDP by CDP Institute. That happened earlier this year. We're very proud of this result, and of course, this came through many years of enhancements to this part of our portfolio. And for some, of course, CDP may be yet another unknown three-letter abbreviation, but I'd like to explain quickly what a CDP, customer data platform, means, so that when I talk about enhancements to Sitefinity Insight this time around, you can map them to specific areas of the functionality. CDPs basically do four important things. They collect data, and they can be from web interactions or form completion or import from other systems, CRMs, e-commerce, offline events, etc. Unify the data so that you can build customer profiles. That may involve stitching journeys or resolving digital identities or various other steps, which leads to the ability to analyze and segment audiences, which, as many marketers know, is one of the paths to successfully engaging these audiences and better serving them, better engaging them, and ultimately creating more business with them. So that involves defining segments, automatically identifying these segments through AI or other algorithms, profiling these segments in terms of what they're about, what they interact with, where they convert, etc., modeling funnels, and so forth. And finally, either reporting on the behavior of these segments or initiating marketing actions. In our system in particular, this happens with triggers via webhooks. We also offer content recommendations and provide various means to analyze content performance. So fast forward to 15.2. Not that Sitefinity Insight is particularly linked to the version of Sitefinity CMS, but we sort of group the functional updates to marketing releases. And this time around, most of the updates fell in the area of modeling and segmenting audiences. So first, there are new persona dialogues. Persona modeling is one of the key capabilities of Insight. For those who've used that, know that pretty well. We completely redesigned the way personas are defined, and not only that, we added rules that are simpler, that they're Boolean. So if you've converted, then you become a persona. That makes modeling easier. But we also kept the score-based modeling that we introduced way in the past. Very importantly, we've expanded the way we can view these segments. Now there are richer data models that underlie these segment modeling. And the expansion this time around happened through numerical data. We used to be able to profile visitors based on content, URLs, text, parameters, and so forth. Now we can handle data, numerical data, dates, and Boolean parameters, which tremendously expands the way you can model these segments and gets insight to cover different applications, whether it's a more refined segmentation for age, appropriate offers, whether it is e-commerce or any other context where knowing what your audiences do in numbers matters more than knowing what they do in terms of content and text. This is a huge enhancement. As I said, in our view, it extends the utility of Sitefinity Insight to many more contexts as far as the application go. And one of these little things that hopefully will make an appreciable difference in practice, we now, through different telemetry, calculate engagement of users with particular pages, scrolling time, etc. And now we report average time on page, which will help further quantify how impactful that page is to different audiences. So that is taking us to demo bit number 3. So John, you probably have a model for us.
Yes. So let's look at models, right? So really quickly, just to kind of give you a visual around what Sergey was discussing here, new capabilities for creating contact profiles. So as mentioned, number, date, and yes and no fields are now available. That being said, we're going to work with a persona here. We have some new enhancements to the persona screen. We have a particular persona that uses data from an external source that measures a mobile check-in to a restaurant. Long story short, they scan a QR code, they say who they are, and we know that they visited a restaurant, right? In this case, we've defined the persona already to be just the location portion. So we have some pages that are attributing to it. We even have a laundry list of contacts, but either I forgot the rule or I want to add it later. Let's go ahead and take a look at the new rules management. So for right now, you'll see that we're only looking at a completed conversion of location mobile check-in. Again, side note, this is data that's coming from another platform. We've either integrated through CRM or other capabilities, however. I want to add another rule. Let's go ahead and do that. This time I want to do a contact property, and I want to go ahead and take a look at age. And in this case, as you might have noticed, and I just glossed over it, we're going to look at visitors who are over the age of 65. So we're going to do greater than, I guess greater than 64, which means 65 and above. Greater than 64. As you'll notice here, instead of just a point matrix measurement, which we still have, we can do simple and or logic. By default, we're going to go with or, but I want this rule to be more explicit, and they have to have done both particular activities. So completed location check-in, so they've been to a restaurant, and we know their age is greater than 64. Let's go ahead and get a recalculation here, and the magic wizardry behind the scenes is going to go ahead and calculate this particular metric here. And we can see a spike on November 1st of these particular visitors. And as we navigate through the different points here, and we go back to contacts, well, we see the list is smaller. Sometimes it takes a second to recalculate those, but we can see what's leading up to it. We can see reservations, again, external data through our POS system, through our phone systems, whatever, lets us know what other interactions labeled as touch points are leading up to this particular conversion. This looks at all of our particular touch points across any medium, right? Offline, online, in between lines, whatever it is, right? We're able to now justify the activities that we're doing, like taking reservations or a direct mail campaign. How did we measure that? It's a QR code. We have some UTM campaign parameters on it. Not overly complex, but it gives us the capabilities of measuring, again, across any different type of store or source. Find a store. This is simply just clicking on a call to action button. That's part of the new editor, which says, clicked on button, find the store. Which conversions are leading up to the or part of this? Well, I've narrowed this down to one conversion through my rule, so that there really isn't any other conversions that are going to be involved in here per se. And then what pages are leading to this? So lots of great data points and real-time calculations throughout the system for more advanced modeling. And just to go back one more time here, we do have this and/or logic here. Again, have to meet all the parameters or any of the parameters. But as noted, we still can do point values as well. So if the points are adding, subtracting points, resetting the persona to 0, those type of capabilities, you do still have to give a threshold. So more simple modeling, more complex modeling, all built into one in a nice, easy, simple interface.
All right, so let's dive deeper into the last bit we had for today. So over the past, and it's a very important bit, by the way, so bear with us a couple of more minutes. So over the past year, we have seen growing interest in some of these new technologies and developments we talked about today, such as SaaS and Next.js, and from both partners and customers, and not just for new projects, but also in existing ones. And I think this is why, because this is a natural step for many organizations aiming to reduce overhead, boost performance, and stay agile. Other than SaaS and Next.js, there are many other paths. So we have presented a couple of them on the screen. For example, modernization with ASP.NET Core, which we still believe is a very powerful technology we'll continue to support going forward, as well as Sitefinity Cloud as platform as a service. The main goal for us is to help you make this transition as smoothly as possible, so you can focus on growth without worrying about the technical list. A couple of more notes in terms of what we hear from customers who come to us with modernization requirements. And what they say is that they want to focus more and more on making their experiences visually engaging, so a redesign, experience modernization, reducing infrastructure costs, this is a big one, improving efficiency for both developers and content managers, leveraging data-driven insights to aid decision-making, so what Sergey covered very extensively, as well as adopting trends like AI to keep up with the pace. And modernization and upgrades aren't about overhauling everything at once, all of these things that you want to improve, we are sure, but modernization is about making thoughtful steps and enhancements to keep your organization agile and relevant. So the ultimate goal of modernization, as we see it, is to unlock instant value through, for example, continuous upgrades, to free your teams to focus on core objectives rather than maintenance, and empower them to publish faster and stay aligned with business goals. And as we talk about SaaS and Next.js quite a lot today, these technologies, these developments aren't just about staying current. They are about staying competitive in a rapidly changing market. Let's talk a little bit about what Sitefinity SaaS is, because we've mentioned that a lot today. It is now generally available for everyone to explore, to migrate to. So with Sitefinity SaaS, you get all the familiar productivity and power features you love, you're used to from Sitefinity, but most notably, especially for content editors, the visual content editing experience, the page building experience, marketers love so much, everything remains the same. But on top of that, you can get a couple of more things that will make things easier and smoother for you. So as we already mentioned, hosting of the front end and the renderer, regardless if it's Core or Next.js, is integrated in the SaaS package out of the box, which means that you don't need to deal with other vendors for hosting. And unlike many SaaS offerings, what we also wanted to highlight here is that we deliver enhanced security right from the start, with all the security capabilities mentioned here on the slide available by default. And it is important to know that the WYSIWYG editor and page building experience can work with any front-end technology other than Core and Next.js, as long as you follow some core principles. So Core and Next.js are natively supported through the ready-to-use widgets and with the renderers, but you can use other technologies as well if you wish. And this is actually my favorite slide. So it's a bit complex. I'll try to explain this so that everybody understands. It's a very exciting development, very exciting capability that we are introducing with 15.2 in Sitefinity SaaS. So this is at the image, this is Sitefinity SaaS at the core, and it is decoupled by design into presentation layer and backend. So as we know, customizations are very important for you because this is a means for you to extend the functionality of Sitefinity, and customizations allow you to tailor the platform to meet specific business needs or adapt and ensure your user-friendly, your users enjoy a user-friendly experience that aligns with your brand. What is happening now? So with what we are introducing, Sitefinity SaaS can be customized on many levels. And that is different to what other SaaS platforms, SaaS CMS on the market offers. For example, if you even think of things like Wix, this is not supported, but with Sitefinity, we are introducing something called extensions. So extensions are micro apps that can be deployed directly within your Sitefinity SaaS subscription. Through the extensions, you can populate, for example, fields with data from external systems of record or create dynamic fields for SEO or other needs. You also get, and this is all that is happening on the backend. So basically it's decoupled, so you can create these extensions, you can host them. We also give you as SDKs to smooth the whole process for you. Developers get also full access to the source code repository and the extensions. And as I said, these extensions are hosted in SaaS. And with the Integration Hub, you are also enabled to customize the business logic by means of integrating with third-party software. And not to mention the front end, of course, with the front end, as it is decoupled, your presentation is basically custom. You can create custom page building experience through the out-of-the-box widgets that you can customize, or by creating your own widgets to meet your needs. So I hope I was able to explain it. And then if you wonder which path is right for you, so we have customers in different deployments. We also want to stay true to our nature that we want to give our customers the flexibility to choose which path best fits their needs. Each path is unique and is depending on the circumstances. So we know that we have a lot of customers that still are on self-hosted environments, because they want full control and because they also have, because of regulations or other reasons. But of course, on self-hosted, you also have the full responsibility and the manual upgrades that you need to deal with, which is a big topic in today's discussion. With PaaS and SaaS, that is solved. So with these deployment options, you are getting closer to empowering your marketing and content editing teams to be independent as much as they can from the technical resources that you have. And as well as if you have the customizations, if you have the things that we just described, you are also possible to tailor the experience and meet your needs with Sitefinity, so you don't need to be limited by boundaries and limitations in the product. Let's talk about what's ahead of you. Let's talk about versions and projects. I guess all of you are aware of how the long-term support for Sitefinity looks like. So version 13.3 is going to be retired in April 2025. So the support for version 13.3, which is an LTS, ends. And the most important questions that you need to ask yourself is, are you on web forms, and is there something we need to do? And if that's the case and you want to explore modernization paths, our advice would be to shift to decoupled in order to future-proof your digital experience. On 14.4, the support goes until 2027. Of course, our recommendation here will be to think about rebuilding with ASP.NET Core, as well as, if that's an option for you, Sitefinity Cloud. And then on version 15, then things become closer to what we were talking about today. So you have the freedom to choose between Next.js and Core. You get the extensibility through the micro apps, and then SaaS for you is an option with the integrated hosting of the front end. And for new projects, of course, we will recommend to you that you consider the SaaS path, including some of these new technologies that we just talked about. So a very quick overview. There will be an LTS for version 15 sometime in 2025. So stay tuned as we update you about that. And by now, we hope that you see the value and importance of planning for the future of your digital experience. It's not an immediate overhaul. You have a horizon. Most of you have a horizon. But as a thoughtful, strategic journey, we recommend for you to start thinking about it. And of course, we can help. So scan the QR code to get in touch with us. Whether you're struggling with getting on the latest version or sit on a legacy tech or have identified a need to go to SaaS, we offer a range of support and guidance options from planning to hands-on assistance. And we also have our partners that have very, very solid expertise in all sorts of modernization projects, with migrations, upgrades, and so on and so forth. So with the right roadmap and support and proactive rather than reactive attitude, you can future-proof your Sitefinity rather smoothly, and let's explore the possibilities together. And I wanted to end today's presentation with something we wanted to share with you, and it is that modernization is a journey. It's not a state, and we are here for you. And it's about continuously evolving your platform to stay aligned with your business goals and your expectations. Talk to us. We'll make sure to support you as much as we can. Thank you for tuning in today.